chicka bang bang. Boom chicka bang bang.
Hello and welcome to A Better Morning. I'm Heather Klein. We debate the trending topics in sports from a sports betting point of view. Let's welcome today's panel. The fantasy executive, Corey Parson.
Award-winning fantasy executive.
The award-winning fantasy exetive. You got to write your own title here, Corey. That's what Howard did.
I didn't write that one. Not me.
Host of Her Story in the Making and co-host of Lightning Round, Britt Flynn. Head of content of Fantasy Alarm and award-winning host of SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio, Howard Bender. And lead NFL analyst of Fantasy Alarm, Andrew Coop Cooper. Welcome, everyone. Hope you had a better 4th of July.
Yeah, well, we had a good one. You know what I'm saying? Didn't lose no fingers last night. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Had a couple high noons and felt good about yourself. So let's roll.
Noons, baby. Let's go. Got my Scott Fishbowl noon shirt on for the occasion. I earned it last night.
Nice. Great job. Congrats, Coop. All right, let's get to it. Bijan Robinson is currently the favorite for Offensive Rookie of the Year at plus 300, with Bryce Young close behind at plus 450. Would you lay your money on one of these two, or is there a dark horse you like? Britt, you are up first.
I mean, I think Bijan looks like the clear favorite to win, but we also thought that Kenneth Walker was the favorite to win, and then Garrett Wilson came in and swooped it out from under him. I'm willing to lay down a sprinkle of money a little early on plus 1,600 on Jordan Addison, but if Bijan is this generational talent that we've all been talking about him being, I think that he's a lock for this award. The last running back to win the award was Saquon Barkley in 2018. So even though it hasn't happened in a couple of years, I can see Bijan having a much similar workload to him. The Falcons ran the ball 559 times in 2022, and 300 carries is only a 53% split of that. So if they do the same thing this year, even Tyler Algier, who came on a little late last year, had a 38% carry rate. I think Bijan's a lock to win Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I'm not. Oh, first of all, start off by saying good morning, Bettor fans. Hey, listen up. Bijan Robinson is not a lock to win this award because Bijan Robinson's a running back. And in Carolina, you have a first-year quarterback, a rookie quarterback that's getting ready to take a team to a division championship and into the playoffs. So that right there alone, regardless really of what Robinson does, the award is going to go to Bryce Young because of the thing that he will accomplish this season. And I'm pretty sure Bryce Young is going to accomplish these things. All the early talks coming out of Carolina camp seem good. Alabama quarterback, head on the shoulders. Yeah, the size could be a thing, but Bryce Young will win the MVP, the rookie of the Offensive Rookie of the Year award. Now, Bijan Robinson, 40-1 to win Offensive Player of the Year. That's something that I like on Bijan Robinson.
Here we go. I got to pick up the pieces from whatever Corey Parson says again. Just doing the work. I mean, listen, yeah, you got to sprinkle a little bit on top of Bijan Robinson just at this rate right now, just because of the fact that you know that Arthur Smith loves to run the ball as much as he does. And while Bijan Robinson will probably get, 750 carries, the bottom line is that he needs to stay healthy in order to get this award. I'm actually thinking about sprinkling a little bit of something. I hear the Bryce Young talk, and he's probably going to, start the season that way. I do have a sneaking suspicion that possibly Anthony Richardson could end up if he outperforms Gardner Minshew and he takes over this job. I think he could lead the Colts to a nice second place finish in the division and win.
Staying healthy, key point there, Howard. That ended up being a key difference between Justin Fields and Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave, especially between Wilson and Olave. And with these awards, we also have to factor in they want to give them to the high draft picks. They want to look back and say, we were right here. So James Robinson didn't get a single vote. If he was a first round pick, he might have as a rookie. So I look around and I'm looking for opportunity. If I'm not going to bet Bryce Young or Bijan Robinson, and that almost always comes at wide receiver. You can look at Jordan Addison, who could be a top 2 target on his team. You could look at a guy like Jonathan Mingo, who could lead the Panthers in targets. I got a deep dark horse here that I already have money on at plus 5,000. I think now he's closer to plus 3,000. but I'm looking at Rashee Rice, a guy who could factor into the fold right away for Patrick Mahomes.
I think you're right, Coop, but I want to go back and counter something that Corey said. Corey said that running backs don't win this award. Well, I brought up Saquon Barkley. So let's look at that. Saquon, the year that he won Rookie of the Year, had 261 carries and 91 receptions. That breakdown that I did with the Falcons running the ball and that 53% split being 300 carries is so doable. I think that Bijan's going to have that workload, and I think that we finally see a running back win again this year. It's not just, oh, it's a quarterback award, it's a wide receiver award. Like, running backs have won this, and it's only been 4 years or 5 years since it's happened.
Yeah, but I think that, and that was a good call right there. I don't believe I did say that he couldn't, or running backs don't win the award. But when you look at the quarterback room when Barkley came out, it was like Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Josh Allen that year. He was terrible. Josh Rosen. So he wasn't really competing against no big-time – well, Lamar Jackson, but he didn't play against no big-time quarterbacks for the award, playing on the Giants, getting that workload. Here you got a quarterback that went 1 overall who's not Baker Mayfield on a team that's got weapons around him. I understand your SEC hate for Bryce Young, but the truth of the matter is the guy won the Heisman Trophy. He was the first pick of the draft. Now it's time for him to be the Offensive Rookie of the Year.
So here's my problem with betting Bijan, and it kind of lends to what Howard said. And it's the same reason that I don't like betting.
Sorry.
No, what Howard said with the injuries is what I'm talking about here, is that it's the same reason I don't bet a lot of running back prop bets. When you look at the over-unders for yardage, they almost all look like they could hit, but you have to factor injury into that equation. That's why so many people go 0 RB in fantasy football. And when you look around, there's only 3 or maybe 4 running backs that have played 3 fully healthy seasons in their entire careers. It's like CMC and Derrick Henry and Mark Ingram and pretty much nobody else. So that's the problem you run into. You're not just betting he's going to be good. You're betting he's going to be good and he's going to stay healthy, which is, it's a difficult game in the 17-game season when you play that position.
I will chime in and say that I do like the Rashee Rice call, and to have him at plus 5,000, I do like that. I think that if he does gel well with Patrick Mahomes, it could be an intriguing thing. Again, I just to state my case for Anthony Richardson, again, they bring in Jim Bob Cooter as the offensive coordinator, but he's not calling any of the plays. He's not doing anything except molding Anthony Richardson into an NFL quarterback. Shane Steichen is going to end up running this offense and leading that charge. If you want to throw a real dark horse out there, how about Jalen Hyatt of the New York Giants? We've already heard that he's only running with the 3s right now. And if history does prove anything, it's that whatever wide receiver the world is crapping on the most, that's the guy who's going to end up dominating. Last year, it was Christian Watson. The year before that, Jamar Chase couldn't catch a football because it didn't have white stripes on it. And the year before that, it was Justin Jefferson because he was struggling with the playbook in his route tree in Minnesota. So, Rashee Rice would be great, but I don't hear enough negativity about him to really, get that juice going.
I like Smith and Jigba if we go long shot, you know what I'm saying? Any guy that can put up 12 for 350 and 3 touches, that's crazy. And that's kind of, every now and then Tyler Lockett has a game like that, so we can start seeing that from JSN as well. Now, I misspoke if I said he won't win because he's a running back. I mean, he's the favorite, and I believe he's going to have a fantastic season. I mean, I'm going to put on Bijan for 40-1 to win Offensive Player of the Year. But for this offensive rookie, I think the number 1 draft pick quarterback taking his team to the playoffs gets the award.
It's what they want to do, right?
If they get to the playoffs.
They will, Howard.
Will they?
They will, Howard.
Our NFL divisional previews continue, and today we take a look at the AFC East. Although the Bills clinched the division with ease, they were no match for the Bengals as they lost 27-10 at Highmark Stadium in the divisional round. The Dolphins struggled with the concussed Tua Tagovailoa, and the Patriots' Mac Jones couldn't keep his frustrations inside the locker room. And for the Jets, enter Aaron Rodgers. Even with the former MVP and Super Bowl winner in Rodgers, the Bills are still looked at to be the favorite at plus 130, and the Jets are plus 250. Not a surprise that the Dolphins and Patriots bring up the rear with a plus 290 and plus 750, respectively. Do you feel that's a lock, for the Bills to win the division, or do the Jets hold more weight with the Darkness Retreat attendee, Aaron Rodgers? Corey, you are first up.
Thank you, Heather.
You're
Listen
welcome.
up. So as far this is probably, I would take Buffalo at plus 130. I don't like their culture with Diggs and Allen, this little thing they got going on. But pound for pound, I believe they're still the best team in the AFC East, which is going to be a tough division this year because I don't believe Miami or New England is going to be slouches either. Now the Jets, hey boy, this is going to be. Listen, I understand Aaron Rodgers is coming there, but I do not think the Jets are going to win this division. I think the Jets are lucky if they're a wild card team. So I like Buffalo to win the division. I'm actually going to fade the Jets. So I understand everybody's all excited about the arrival of Aaron Rodgers. These old quarterbacks coming to new places, I don't like it. Give me the Buffalo Bills. And at plus 130, you're getting better odds than the Jacksonville Jaguars. Crazy.
Resident diehard Jets fan here, lifelong, and here it comes. I have to agree with the fantasy executive. I just don't think the Jets are going to do it. I'm not going to, look at that. Aaron Rodgers, literally the only guy to ever do ayahuasca and come out less cool on the other side. So I'm just not into that at all. Buffalo's got that internal strife. I do love what they did on defense this year. I think that's absolutely a fantastic call. And you got to sprinkle a little something on the plus 130. But I'll say this. I might have to go with the Miami Dolphins here. And the only reason why is that everybody's anti-Miami because if Tua gets hurt, they signed Mike White, who will stick it to the Jets, no doubt about that. But I think Miami's the team here. If Tua stays healthy and they sign Dalvin Cook, that's the team I want.
Bingo, Howard. And the whole Tua concussion thing, like if you get a concussion, the short term, you're more likely to get one. A lot of the research I'm seeing shows that once you're healed, it's it's a little bit of gray on whether you're set to get more concussions or not. I mean, Devontae Adams got 3 in 18 months. Brandon Cooks got 3 in 18 months. I don't see people fading Devontae Adams. It would have been a bad idea, right? So I look at this team, the way that they've built it exactly like the 49ers team, where Mike McDaniel comes from. And that team, we love that team no matter who's playing quarterback. We don't even know who's playing quarterback, and we're betting on them. This team is built the same way. They have better wide receivers. They could end up with a better running back, but I like the running back as is. This team is ready to win this division right now. Plus 290 for me. I don't think the Bills did enough on offense, honestly.
Yeah, I'm with both of you guys. I think that this division is wide open, but I would lay a little bit of money on the Dolphins. Their passing attack last year was so good before Tua got hurt, and even with the backup quarterback. And now that Tyreek Hill has a full year under him with the playbook, he came out and said he didn't even know the pass or the plays. He was just out there running around playing field football. I mentioned this on the Alarm Fantasy Football Show yesterday, but we all thought that Tyreek Hill was blowing smoke when he said that Tua was the most accurate quarterback that he'd ever played with. But you look at his numbers. He was first in deep ball completion percentage, first in yards per attempt, second in red zone accuracy rating. Like, this dude has got it. And they did a lot to shore up their defense with the acquisition of Jalen Ramsey in that secondary. That was one of their biggest problems last year. 6 of their losses came by 1 score or less. And now that they've got that defense shored up, and maybe if they get Dalvin Cook, I really like their odds.
I'll tell you right now, if Tua was right-handed instead of left-handed, we would love this guy. I swear, it's the bias of watching him throw left-handed that makes us say that looks weird. I've actually watched a video. Somebody flipped it around where it looked like he was throwing righty, and I was like, who is this guy? This guy's amazing. So I think there's a little bit of lefty bias going on against Tua here.
No, it's a little bit of sit on the bench because you got a concussion bias going on against Tua here. Listen, we keep talking about, if Tua stays, I got to see him stay. Because when you're getting a concussion 2 or 3 times a season, you mentioned, Devontae Adams. How about Devontae Freeman? He got 3 concussions in 18 months. Guess what happened? His career came to an end, even though he's still trying to get out there now. I can't really back people that I don't expect to be healthy. And then listen to how they finished the season with the Jets, the Cowboys, at Baltimore, and then Buffalo. This is a good team, borderline playoff team, but not a division champion.
I just don't get what Buffalo is doing in terms of the weapons. Like, maybe they're trying to do their own version of Tom Brady, throw him out there with whatever. But when the Patriots finally did actually get Tom Brady, a good wide receiver, and Randy Moss, he threw 50 touchdown passes and he threw 23 to Moss.
Hall of Fame wide receiver is not, not just anybody.
With one Hall of Fame wide receiver, I don't see Julian Edelman getting any Hall of Fame votes.
No.
Do you?
No, but Randy Moss may be the top 5 receiver.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Hey, teams are going out and trading for Tyreek Hill, and they're trading for AJ Brown, and they're even trading for Marquise Brown. Like, if I was Stephon Diggs, I would be frustrated that they're sticking with Gabe Davis, and I like Dalton Kincaid for fantasy football, but you're a tight end. That's the plan. Like that's what you added.
Josh Allen is the weapon.
Right? It's betting a lot on one horse.
Yeah, and I want to go back to what Corey said about if Tua stays healthy. I think that he did a lot in the offseason to ensure that he does. He consulted doctors to double check the status of his brain. He was taking jujitsu lessons to learn how to fall, to learn when to get rid of the ball, to make sure that he wasn't put in those situations where he did get clobbered. And I think this year he's going to be a lot more improved. So I'm not really worried about his health.
He was hurt his entire college career. He's been hurt his entire NFL career.
With a concussion and a broken hip, 2 freak injuries.
Yeah, Mike Vick said to bulk up and stop getting popped. How about that? You think Tua should just do that?
Anybody listening to Mike Vick has an issue, but that's another story.
What's your beef with Mike Vick, Britt? He didn't play in the SEC.
That's for another day.
All right.
Yeah.
The NBA will be piloting a proposed in-game penalty for flopping during Summer League. Referees will determine what is a flop and will award the opposing team with a free throw and possession of the ball. The flopper will be given an unsportsmanlike technical, which would not count towards personal fouls or be ejected. Do you think the NBA is going into the right direction, and do you feel this plan is necessary? Howard, your favorite sport, let's go.
I'm so excited that I get to go first for this one here because I do. I love talking about soccer, and I love talking about players running around and falling down after just getting barely touched. Come on, man. I mean, listen, if there was, if there was yet another reason to call NBA players soft this, in this day and age, can't play back-to-back games. Now we're dealing with all the flopping rules that they have in soccer. Please. This is exactly what the NBA needs. The NBA needs another way to have a referee calling subjective. Yes, Heather, I see you in the chat, soccer, because that's what the NBA is turning into right now with these guys being like, oh, I'm falling down. I can't get up. I mean, it's a joke. Players are soft. The flopping is stupid, but even more stupid is making a subjective rule to give the referees more reason to screw up calling a game.
Oh, no, I think we need it, man. I think about pure basketball when you go play at the YMCA or your local court. Like, it's all honor system. There's no flopping. There's no and ones. Like, it's pure basketball. And in this current day and age, in this culture in the NBA, it's such a low risk, high reward move that it's encouraged. People call it gamesmanship even to take a flop. Like, when they show the replay, you're supposed to dog these guys, but some people applaud it. That's why we need this rule in place so that when it happens and it's a penalty, not only do you look like a coward and do you look stupid, but you're hurting your team. That's going to change the culture. And if they actually can, correctly identify these and we prove that they're actually good at doing it, I say we up the penalty. It is unsportsmanlike.
I think there are much bigger needs to be addressed in the NBA. The blatant number of walks being one of them. But flopping, it's childish. But it's even more stupid to flop and then let the game play out and let your team go down with 4 players instead of 5. Like, let them hurt their own team. I think that it's stupid. Obviously, like Howard said, offhand, we think of soccer, but it kind of happens in the NFL too. If it's that big of a problem among NBA players, just fine them. I guarantee you 90% of players, if you hit them in their pocketbook, it's going to stop them from doing it. And then there are concerns about how this is going to be enforced because apparently you don't even have to stop gameplay when this happens. So when do you stop it? You're telling me you're going to let the other team go down and score, then a flop, and then call it when they're going up tempo? Like, that has big implications for momentum and all kinds of things. And it's dumb.
At one point, I used to say that Adam Silver was the smartest guy in sports. And then on the day when Kobe Bryant died and he had the entire league just about play, that's when that kind of started to change for me. They act like the NBA don't have a referee problem. Let's set the scenario. Game 7, Eastern Conference Finals, Miami Heat and Boston Celtics, TD Bank Garden, and Scott Foster calls a flop. How do you think that's going to go over? This will not be enforced. If this happens 5 times during the regular season, I'd be shocked. It will never happen in the postseason. The NBA already has too much of a referee problem to put important moments in the hand on subjective calls. I think Britt is actually right. A fine is probably the best way to go. Flopping is something you see. Egregious flops may happen 6-7 times a season.
Here's a real controversial take. I say all sports, take it out of the hands of the referees. Go full on sky judges. If AI can do it, go full on robots. I don't care. Just enough is enough. Like you said, Corey, if they're going to influence the game to that degree, then change it. I mean, Howard, we saw I forget who the pitcher was. Remember that pitcher got a perfect game taken away over a blown call at first base?
Yeah, I forgot that dead. I was working in the newsroom when that happened.
Yeah, they gave him a Corvette or whatever.
And they came out and shook his hand. Umpire came out and shook his hand the next day. That's not going to cut it.
Yeah,
you make mistakes like that, just do through that's history right there. That's ridiculous. I forgot about that.
I'm team Sky Judge all the way, dude. Bring in the robots, man. I think we can. Somebody, when I'm sitting home at TV, I feel like I'm pretty good at it. You could get the best guy ever possible. Just have a whole room of guys watching the game from every angle and actually getting the calls right. Let's do it.
And Britt, it's a when the walk thing, you got the gather step, then 2 steps. So that third step is really a gather step. So that's not a walk.
No, I understand basketball, Corey.
And that's why Giannis can dunk from the 3. That's why Giannis can dunk from the 3-point line, right?
Can we just focus on the fact that I gave my
take to mansplain basketball?
I gave my take, and Corey Parson completely echoed my sentiments about putting the call into the referee's hands. That I had an actual take on NBA that Corey actually supported. Boom. I think my day is made right now. I don't think I need to do anything else for the rest of the day. I'm going to take the whole day off here now because Corey Parson agreed with my NBA take.
I'm probably going to be off tomorrow after mansplaining. The DEI department's going to come after me.
And Britt, to your point, how they should handle it if they don't stop the game, this is how they should handle it. If you flop like a little baby, the ref should just go over and just pull your pants right down and say, "There you go, you're a coward." And then you got to play the rest of that play.
Way more entertaining.
Yeah,
it'd be way more entertaining than stopping the game. Stopping the game pisses people off.
Did we get that at the NFL Combine a while ago?
What, the pants down?
There it is. Please let's talk about a different topic.
Yes. We are heading into the MLB All-Star break. So let's start breaking down the first half of the season. The Rays and Braves lead the AL and NL, which for all intents and purposes, they were expected to be in top 10, but many did not consider Tampa Bay to be first, as they were ranked closer to the back end of the top 10. Which team surprised you the most, either by their win or loss record? Coop, give us your thoughts.
Yes, let's get into some of these highly intensive purposes. I
need to know, first of all. Revise that for me. I love it. Thank you.
In the MLB, there's only 2 ways to win, man. And because it's not like the other leagues with an actual salary cap. The luxury tax is a joke. You either need to have the money or you need to have the people. The teams with the front offices that actually know what they're doing and actually get it done are the other teams that I would bet on. So I'm actually personally not super surprised to see the Rays succeed because their front office, those groups, they've hired guys like Joe Madden, Rocco Baldelli, who I love. They come out and they get the right guys. Now they have Kevin Cash. I'm not surprised that this team is good. More towards Corey's previous points, teams that surprise me are teams like the Orioles, who consistently seem to screw this up, consistently seem to be in a perpetual bridge year. So teams like that surprise me. Teams like the Rays, not surprised.
Yeah, I think that it does surprise me a little bit because you look at what the Rays were dealing with. Their pitching, they were battling with injuries, but their offense has really compensated for that and has carried them to the next level. I'm a little bit worried about if this will continue, though. because after the All-Star break, the Rays have one of the toughest schedules in all of baseball, not just their conference, in the entire sport. The Rays have snuck by on their strength of offense, but their bullpen is starting to kind of show some cracks in their armor, and it could come back to bite them. But I've got to give them their props for what they've done. And I can honestly see the Braves and the Rays meeting up in the World Series. I think that they've both got what it takes as long as the Rays get their bullpen under control.
Travel won't be an issue if that is the World Series, which would be cool, even though I won't be going to any game. I don't play for the Braves or the Rays, but for some odd reason, the travel interests me. With that being said, in the sport that's most dominated by the big power markets, I think what the Tampa Bay Rays are doing is what's really the most impressive, because it's a small market. They got that small budget. I think they play outside in the sandlot. You know what I'm saying? They got one fan, Dick Vitale, show up to the games, but yet and still, you know what I'm saying? They're going out there, winning all these games, hitting home runs and showing and dancing, having a good time, 15 games ahead of the Yankees. So, yeah, you know what? Tampa Bay Rays might as well, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Tampa, you know what I mean? So the Rays, I think, have been the surprise of the MLB season so far. Shout out to Dick Vitale.
Shout out to Dick Vitale. Listen, the Braves, no, I don't think this surprised anybody at all. They were my pick to win the NL East. They're actually my pick to come out of the National League for the World Series. The Rays also, not really a huge surprise for me. Wander Franco coming into his own. They get a bunch of hitters who, just are kind of buying into different things. Shout out to their hitting instructor for turning Yandy Diaz around a little bit. So, but the Rays they're a pitching first team. They've always been a pitching first team. And what they do with their pitchers is absolutely fantastic. The proof is in the pudding. Looking at what Zach Eflin is doing right now, looking at the development of Shane McClanahan. But I think if we're talking about the biggest surprise, I'm out of time here right now, but I'm just going to say this. The biggest surprise to me is that the Cincinnati Reds lost 100 games last year, and they're currently in first place in the Central. And then the Arizona Diamondbacks, who finished the year last year 14 games under 500, they're in first place in the West. You want to talk the biggest surprises, Cincinnati, Arizona right now. That's who's doing it.
I yield my time to Howard.
Everything after the clock, I want redacted.
I want that. You guys are all hammering around the entire time. I had to save it for the one baseball take I got to do here. Instead, I get to go first on NBA flopping.
Yeah, strike that from the permanent record and replace that with a rerun of his flop take.
Keeping you on your toes, Howard.
Well, listen, for all intensive purposes, I just
Nice.
And I was not the one who corrected it in the doc, and it hurt me to not be the guy to correct it in the doc because I'm an editor, and that just kind of grind.
I appreciate it.
Oh, it was Britt that did it, so now maybe y'all can leave me alone.
Hey, Britt, could you do me a favor and explain it to Corey how you changed it in the doc? and go slowly because he's having trouble.
A lot of people think a gather step leads to a travel. But it's a gather step. It's in the rule book. That's all I was saying.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have a better morning and a better day. Thank you so much to our panel. Have a great day.